Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. X special, as always, we'll try to wrap up all the today's trade recaps and today's teaching is 20 minutes, cover all the winners or the losers from our community trades, and we'll talk about few important concepts that I often teach VIX, MTF, A plus setups. Just a quick introduction. I'll try to keep introduction quick. Anybody who's new to our X accounts or new to our YouTube is down. But so all these trade recaps and all these teachings are based upon our repeatable systems, be it a swing trade, day trade, investment, whatever we do is based upon our repeatable trading system. We use a repeatable trading system called Ripster EMA Cloud system that thousands of traders use across the world. You can learn about it on my free website or you can Google it, YouTube. There's a lot of resources out there. But anyways, we trade this repeatable system. We trade this in our community Tana Trade Group. We're one of the largest trading communities online, educational focused, not a signal or an alert service. We make a plan every day. We have a plan every day and we trade with that plan. And I often share some updates on my X as well. But I'm live and I'm on voice and I'm on screen share in my community. So this is our game plan for today. This was our game plan for today. In the game plan, we have our new setups, we have earning setups, we have index stocks setups as well. I'm live in the pre-market a half an hour before the market open. So we make a plan in the pre-market. We highlight the focus plays in red, and we also make our support levels, resistance levels, and we have an initial game plan. We go through it once we recap those trades. We have our initial game plan that we follow, and we go from there. We use a lot of tools in our community to make sure we have a good day in the community. We have 3-4 option scanners, option flow scanners, stock scanners, news alert, breaking news alert, hold, unholds, bunch of tools that we provide in community, which are like $400-500 a month, but it's free in our community. So we use all these tools to trade. Most of our trades are early in the morning, and something like Oracle, which is an all-day runner. So anyways, this is what we provide to the community members in the morning for the game plan, and most of the traders use this game plan and our repeatable concepts that I teach you guys on X day in, day out. We use those concepts to trade as well. We also share something called Ripster Day 2, Day 3 setups. CoreWeave was a good trade on that, Oklo. So this is another repeatable strategy that I did a free webinar with you guys on X as well. So we provide these setups as well in the pre-market. We create levels for the ETFs, the indices. We provide these levels to the community members in the morning as well. We also trade crypto stocks, coin MSTR, based upon if Bitcoin is having a trend day. We trade these crypto stocks. We also trade futures. Today was a great day to trade futures. We will recap that. We provide these levels and guidance in the pre-market. We also focus on low floors. We have a low floor channel. We focus on IPOs. So we try to do everything in our community, try to make have a good day, keeping our losers small, winners big. Thousands of traders are all day on our trading floor, sharing ideas with everyone and trying to have a decent day in the market. We keep our losers pretty small. Our system helps us to keep our losers small, and we try to have a big winners. You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to trade every stock. You trade when your system gives you a good setup. Today was a great day. Great setups was definitely a good day. So anyways, with that being said, let's start a recap, and I'll show you my timestamp recap. Of course, I cannot show you what I guide on a live screen and voice, but I'll try to teach you, and hopefully you guys can implement these teachings like thousands of other traders are doing to to have a good time with the stock market, trying to grow your account and avoiding any catastrophic losses. Let's start. All right, so let's start with SPY QQQ first. So let's look at SPY QQQ today. So we had a kind of a trend day on SPY QQQ. Today, let's take a look here. Let me see if I can show you guys. So SPY definitely a decent day. One thing you have to realize that SPY has lost its range. The range is pretty small, right? If the volatility is low, VIX is low, but still doesn't mean you can't trade SPY QQQES, but its options are priced cheaper because of the low volatility. So traders can still have those option trades, or you can always trade leverage ETFs, futures, whatever you like. Anyways, let's see what our plan in the pre-market on the market. Let's see here, SPY QQQ. So PPI came in today. It rose by less than expected. So market was a little gapping down on the PPI. What was our plan? The plan was pretty simple. Here comes my VIX strategy that I've been teaching from years and years and years. You can go to ripstereducation.com and you can see that how this strategy has helped many traders make a living in the stock market because it's such a high probability, strategy. VIX was at 18 today in the pre-market, so that gave us a pretty clear plan. We would long the market if VIX breaks 18, and if it pushes over MTF Clouds, we will long it, right? So combination of MTF Clouds and VIX help us make a decent day in the market, and we will take a look. So right, let's go. So let's see what happened right when the market was opening. I'm going to keep ES futures here instead of SPY so that you can understand, and I'm going to show you QQQs right here on this side, and we're going to keep a VIX at the bottom. So we had a plan. We waited. I waited first few minutes. First 10 minutes is an amateur move. But as soon as I saw that VIX is breaking this 18 level right here, that's when it started to push over MTF. I gave the long to the community members. Of course, most of the members or my students who have been learning from me, they don't wait on me. They're executing, but I make sure that I guide them and help them holding their winners longer till our stops hit, making sure we make most of our setups. Because a working strategy means nothing. It means nothing if when it's working you take puny profits, and when it's not working you take huge losses, right? So you can give a working strategy to two different people. They will entirely trade it differently because one trader lets the strategy work. The other trader, same strategy, when it works for him, he doesn't make good profits because he tries to sell, and when he loses more. So you need to let the system work for you, and when a setup is working, be patient and let it pay you so that your winners are bigger than your losers. So anyways, so we saw this long here. That's where I gave the long on MTF Cloud. You see we are breaking a key pivot on MTF. We are breaking some resistance right here from the pre-market. So that's when I gave a long versus 531. 531 was the risk on QQQ. SPY risk was 600. You could similarly use 6010 on ES futures. So same thing. So we started to push. We pulled back a little. No panic. You see this red candle. No panic because it's still holding a Ripster EMA Cloud. It's still holding a Ripster EMA Cloud. Now comes our 10 a.m. concept. I teach you the 10 a.m. concept as well. So various concepts have to come together to trade the market. We were kind of an inside candle because we're inside this yesterday's price action, so it's inside action, but you always need to understand that. So anyways, we got this 10 a.m. bounce and it held our stops. So we know that 10 a.m. we're holding a trend. 10 a.m. usually tells you is it a chop or is it going to be a trend day. So we got a 10 a.m. and that's held our stops. Then I gave the target of 602. SPY gave a target of 602. QQQs I gave a target of 533, and we held that and we pushed towards our 602 target on SPY. We pushed to QQQ or 533 target. Then we got a breakout over this 1 hour level. This was a resistance from yesterday. You can see a few candles rejecting it. So that becomes a breakout pivot for us, right? Same for ES futures. This area becomes a breakout pivot for us. Resistance becomes support, becomes a resistance, and once the resistance breaks out, we hold it. And you see the same time the VIX is fading, just like I talked about. When VIX breaks 18, we should be long. So VIX is breaking down, MTF is holding. So what does MTF means? This means this one is 1 hour MTF, 1 hour MTF Ripster Clouds. It's telling us that 1 hour is turning bullish. So that's why we hold it, right? So from that point, QQQ pushed all the way to 534. We had a flag break, and ES futures also ran from 60.10, 16.15 all the way to 60.45, 30 points there. SPY ran from 600 to 603. Like I said, small range, right? But that doesn't mean you couldn't profit off that. If you want to see that, if you're an options trader, your 601 calls went 150%. A lot of traders took that in the community. You can see that we trade these actively. So a lot of traders took those trades and got those few 100% trades on that. I always make sure my traders are holding because we tend to cut them early, but traders held on the QQQs, nice 150%. Even the QQQ calls went decent there because we had a like $3 move here, $3 move there, ES future 20-point move. And finally, when VIX started to bounce, we cut here. You see, we cut here, but you can always trade this bounce, but it's not as good a setup as the morning setup. You can still take some money, but it's not my favorite setup. The main money was in this morning move, and after that it was mostly a choppy action, and you usually get paper cuts because you see this VIX up and down that spoil your setup. So anyways, so that was our SPY QQQ trade and ES futures trade, which was one of the good ones. Individual names were not doing much, but SPY QQQ, or you trade leverage ETF, SPXL, QID, those did provide some good trades to the traders. My playlist on SPY QQQ trade for living should be up on YouTube maybe end of this week. You can also watch a webinar in the community. I did a free webinar, 2.5-hour webinar, which explains when to trade, when not to trade, and which are the best setups trading the SPY QQQ in the market. Anyways, let's go to the next one. All right, so let's go to the A plus setup. We have today this A plus setup was Oracle. So the Oracle A plus setup, because it's trading at all-time highs, is breaking its multi-month resistance. Is you can still push higher. So it was an A plus setup. So what was the plan on Oracle? So how do you decide that it's going to work or it's not going to work? So it's pretty clear. Let me explain it to you. And I guided it live in the community. No hindsight, no BS. I try to teach what I teach. I show it live. And this was one of my favorite setups. Oracle, number one earning plays, bullish bias, gap and crap under 189, long over it, right? So 189 was the key level. All you had to watch and wait was for 189. So I waited. It pulled back to 189. As soon as it held 189, means that's our support, that's our long. If you miss that, then it gave the traders a breakout long over this pre-market highs, and the risk was 192. So you risk $1, and I gave the target of 198. And my first target I gave it. First 10 minutes I gave the target. You see that? I gave that target 198 first 10 minutes. And we hit that 198 target by 10 a.m. So we already hit that. So that's where we sold 60% of our position. And next target I gave 200, right? So you see that I gave the 200 target way before we hit it, and we hit our 200 target as well by by 10:30. And after that, I told the traders, if 200 holds, you hold it, and maybe you roll further into further options. And from that, we pushed higher into a 250s. And after that was a midday chop. And once we broke this 512, we were out of it. We did give it a little bit room. Till 200 or 199 to see where we're going to exit it completely. But as you see, very simple setup. 189 held. That tells you it's a long. Pre-market highs breaking out. That tells us it's a long, and it's also one of our A plus setups. Tomorrow we will watch if it holds 198 area. We will long it again. That's what we are looking for. Or you can long it over 202, 200. So that's the plan for Oracle on tomorrow. Pretty good trade. If you trade options, you need to let the options cool down a little bit cool down, and then you can trade it. So today 195 calls went from $1.50 to $6. Oracle doesn't really trade that big of a range. That's why you got like 300, 400% returns. Pretty good day for the community on Oracle. Everybody just killed it. Very proud of this setup, and this is one of my most profitable, best setup that we trade. You can see that everybody, Sophie did so good, D-Trade, Anthony, thousands of traders doing it good. Nothing makes me more proud. Krasik got 150%, and Antonio gave 100%. So beautiful trade, right? It's not about the alerts or anything. It's about finding these setups yourself, holding. I made sure that my traders held all the way long. That's how you will grow your account, especially when you're day trading, even when swing trading, same concepts work. So very happy for that. Gabriel was done by 10 a.m. In the Oracle. So beautiful trade. Explorer also got 100%. Beautiful trade. Let's go to the next one. All right, next let's look at our CoreWeave. Let's see what CoreWeave was doing today. So again from CoreWeave was our MTF. CoreWeave was our MTF setup. So why were we focusing on CoreWeave? Why do we trade CoreWeave every day? Because CoreWeave has a great range. It has a great range. That's why I keep it as my day two setup. You see that it was a day two setup. Highlighted it as a red setup, means it's a number high focus setup. This was the level I gave as support. This was the level I gave as resistance. I also told the traders in the pre-market that it's an MTF setup. See, our strategies are repeatable strategies. They work 80-90% of the time. You just need to focus on the right tickers, and you don't need to get frustrated when it doesn't work. When it doesn't work, you take a small loss. For example, if CoreWeave short doesn't work, you take a $2-3 loss and forget about it. But CoreWeave worked. MTF short versus 152 right here versus 152, and it flushed. The first target I gave was this 148 area, and I told the traders to cover some under the yesterday's lows. And we broke the yesterday lows. We flushed more. Actually, I had a target right here under 141. You see this area from 3 days ago. We didn't completely hit it, but it almost went there. So you see that even if you shorted 150s or 149s, then you might have to risk $2-3 more, but you still got $7-8 worth of short. Core weave, you need options are a little expensive because high IV, but regardless, you can short the shares. You need a good broker, but there's opportunity to make. If you risk $200 there, you made $1,000. That's the kind of trades you need to do. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at NVIDIA. So as you know, we were trading QQQs, right? The QQQ was pushing because of NVIDIA. And you can either trade NVIDIA, you just need to know that market is strong, what is pushing, or you can trade NVIDIA. So NVIDIA had a news today. I told the traders to avoid the long under 140, 150. If holds, you long it and watch the market. Watch the market means if market is strong, you long it. And this was our first call on NVIDIA. There was a 512 call. And then we had our MTF, right? You see that? You see that we had our MTF. And once it breaks out, 10 AM flag all day long. Nothing too much to talk about there. Traders, got that all day long. There's a lot of option flow there as well. We keep eyes on the option flow. So it was a good setup for all traders in the community today on NVIDIA. Everybody was trading NVIDIA today. You can see that, traders focus on our MTF setups. Mikshu called out the MTF. So you see that, how the setups are working. Another similar setup which was working because the market was strong was AVGO. So AVGO was same thing, was curled right at the open, and that was a beautiful breakout. This was most of my voice guidance. I alerted that. You can see that I mentioned the 10 AM breakout on that as well. I try to, because I'm watching hundreds of tickers on live screen, I try to find the best opportunities and tell my traders, sometimes you might be late, so you avoid it. But most of my traders know where to enter, know where to exit, so they know my guidance, and they, even if I'm not explicitly guiding all the way like Oracle, they still know it, because at the end of the day, what I've been doing for years is making everybody self-dependent, and that's what I feel proud about, and that's what I'm trying to do. And beautiful trade in AVGO as well in the community. Let's go to the next one. All right, so let's look at Oklo. Oklo was initially our amateur loser. Remember, there's always an amateur candle. If you wait on amateur candle, then you can, have better trades sometimes. You don't always need to watch on trade amateur candle. So anyways, when amateur candle was breaking down, I took a short there and wanted to see if it can further flush. But I watched that then all the nuclears are strong. They're actually pretty strong. And that's when happened. I said, no short, stop out, take a loss. And it's a long. And then I gave the long, I gave the stops of $65. And from that push, it went all the way to 71. It did drop under 512s, but 34.50 was pretty close. You could always get back if you got out. You need to know. You need to know the big picture, right? What is Oracle doing on the big picture level? Oklo on the big picture level is breaking out of the weekly chart, all-time highs, A+. So it was simply a retest and push. Tomorrow we're going to watch it. If it reclaims, it holds this area, reclaims 66, we'll long it again. All right, so let's look at Tesla again. So Tesla was today, this morning, I didn't focus on too much, but I just want to show you guys. We had our MTFs here. The plan I gave to the traders was trade versus MTF Clouds, no go under 321. So when you see that, once it's pushing here, you have to get long right away. Otherwise, we have a little problem if you chase, right? So it didn't do anything. It pushed higher, dipped. I told the traders to buy this versus 324. And I was, there was some flow as well. Pull back at 324. You see that the 324 was your risk, and it kind of held that level. And then we were on news, Trump was talking, and it broke out the flag. It's not really a great setup today. You see the choppy candles. And once it broke the 512s, I told the traders to exit. You see that? Exit. And you can always short that, and then it faded all the way back. I was expecting a sell the news on Robotaxi, but I guess Robotaxi never happened. What I don't like about Tesla is just breaking this 20 EMA and 1 hour EMA clouds, and tomorrow it can be bearish, so we have to watch out. Today's action kind of spoiled the candle. Daily is bearish. So that was a Tesla today. All right, let's look at Boeing today. So Boeing had a news that there was a plane crash in India, and usually Boeing kind of has been pricing in these kind of events. And we were not short. We were looking to short it, but when it held 202s, I told the trader no short yet. It's a call versus 202s, and it did push from the longs from 202s to 206s. But this is again our MTFs. It's not easy to cross it, and then it flushed, and then it broke out down and told the traders to get out. Again, you can see that it could never push over the MTF, so it was not like high conviction. You could scalp it from like the morning longs right from here when it started to curl. Then I told the traders curl, but you have to step out, step away when you see these kind of rejections. Okay, let's look at some other plays in the community today. Let's look at our earning plays. GameStop. GameStop was pretty solid. The planning on GameStop was watch the pops to short versus 25. If it pushes over 25, do not short it. And it never pushed over 25. It actually rejected. Just like I mentioned in the pre-market plan, watch the pops to 25, cautious of the calls, no short of over 25. 23 was a downside support. Once this was gone, it was a short. You short the pops, fade it all the way back, decent trade, and you can see that it's pretty bearish. It broke the 1 hour clouds, all under 50 EMA. So all day fade on GameStop from our game plan. Let's look at a loser today. AOI was our loser. AOI was on our game plan. When I saw that pre-market high breaking out, I gave the traders long. I gave them, the stops under right here at 1850. But it failed the breakout. Amateur move and the trend move failed, and we stopped out. We took a loss there, so that was a 50-60 cent loss. So, but our system keeps up tight on the loss, right? So anyways, a few more plays. Apple was a short today. Why was it a short? Because it was breaking into the clouds, choppy, nothing special. We had UNH. UNH was our long. Why was UNH our long today? UNH was our day 2 setup, and a lot of the traders in the community were on UNH today. So let's see here. There you go, UNH our day 2 setup. We saw the strength. We saw this 512 calls. That's where the traders in the community took long. The credit for this one goes to all the community members who were on top of UNH since morning. And this was the first long call. And then when it pushed higher, I gave a stops of 312, and you see that it held the 312. You can take it long again here, and I continuously told the traders to move the stops up. 315, target was MTF. We hit MTF. Beautiful call. Actually, UNH is setting up for a nice swing as well. I gave that 300 swing, might work because the 300 is a base now. Tomorrow you watch that if it breaks out over there or not. Anyways, video got a little longer than I expected. Hopefully you guys learned and you can execute this concept. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.